Hi, I'm Jean Nolte, editor at Fons Porter.
And I'm Colleen Tauke. I'm the sewing specialist with Fons Porter. In this Sew Easy, we're going to show you how to use the twisted triangle template to cut pieces and how to piece a twisted triangle hexagon.
So this is the twisted triangle template, and the first thing we're going to do is cut the pieces for the block, which looks like this. And so you're going to need 3 of one print and 3 of another. We used a polka dot for one and then a floral for the other. So you're going to start with 7-inch strips of each of your fabrics, and it's really important that you look at the template and you see that it's right side up. You never want to use it this way so the writing is backwards. Always have to have the writing right side up. Okay, so we're going to cut these, and I think it's a little easier to use this smaller rotary cutter. So you're going to line up the long straight edge of the template along the edge of this strip. We've cut strips 7 inches.
Now the reason why we're saying always orient the template in one direction is that there is only one direction to put these all together. And if you start to flip it back and forth, your pieces aren't going to fit, and then you're going to be upset.
So after I've cut that first edge, I'm just going to turn this around.
You always want to be cutting with the rotary cutter going away from you, which is the safest position to be in.
And with this smaller blade, it's just a little easier to get around the curves. All right, so after you've cut the first one, then you're ready to cut the second one, and you just flip it around. So the first one was here. The second one, you rotate that and put the long edge across the top of your strip.
This is the most efficient way to use. You're going to have a football shape left each time, but this is the most efficient way that we found to orient the template on the strip and make your cutting.
So there, I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to turn this whole thing around again.
When you're working on these things, think about that you need to have a new blade in your rotary cutter.
Right.
You want a nice sharp blade so that you get a nice clean cut.
All right. And I'm going to turn that just a little bit more.
Yeah, you need to orient it so you're pushing away from yourself.
All
That's
right.
the direction you get the best
All right. So I'm going to
grip on the
cut that
fabric.
little straight edge there.
Up
and
into
then
the curve.
curved side up there.
Gonna overlap your, at the corners, make an overcut. That makes it, make sure that
There
the
you
corners are free.
All right, so there you go. You got a couple of those. You just keep cutting across the strip until you get as many as you need. And now we're ready to lay these out.
You need 6 to make the block.
All right. And you'll notice the straight edge always stays to the outside.
What's nice about this, in this orientation then, is that you're always keeping a straight of grain on the outer edge of your block, which helps to stabilize any stretch.
All right.
All your bias edges will be in the interior.
So there are all the pieces for one block.
There we go.
So the first thing we're going to do is, join these two into a pair.
Pairs.
All right.
Okay. Now, when you're putting these blocks together, and you have them as cut, you see that they do fit together, but you have to piece right side together. So that means to lay it over, you need to find the center of each of the curves. So just with a simple pinch of the fabric, leaves a little crease. That way you know where the centers are. You always want to orient the piece that, we kind of call this the smile. Hopefully you're happy when you finish. But if you put the smile piece on top. So we're orienting it like this. And those little pinch spots will line up one on top of the other. Put a tiny little pin bite right into the seam allowance, but not any deeper. And at the end of where we're going to finish here, we can line up.
And those are the same kind of angle, so they really do line up.
Perfectly.
And
Okay,
we're ready to sew.
This one we're going to slide back into position as we put it under sewing machine.
And it is really important to sew with the correct piece on top. And we say with the smile on top because they just sort of fall into place very easily. If you try it the other way, it just doesn't work quite as well.
It's hard to maneuver the excess part of the fabric, the inside curve like this on the top.
And you're not going to want to go very fast. You stitch a few stitches and stop
reposition, always wanting to get those cut edges together. A stiletto, a T-pin, corsage pin.
And if you have the
Work
needle
great.
down feature on your machine, you want to have it set so that it will stop with the needle down when you stop, and take out those pins as you come to them.
And you'll notice it's just kind of falling right into place. I'm not doing much. The machine's doing the work. It's bringing the fabric underneath together here.
Right.
And you'll see as I start to finish here, there's no excess fabric. Everything's going to lay together nicely. I'll finish right off the end. Take a pin out, and off the end we go. Cut thread.
Then the other thing that's important is pressing as you go.
That's always one battle. Okay, here we unveil. Here is our nice curved seam. And when we press, we're going to want to press it
Toward the smile.
toward the smile, like this.
So I'm going to
Just
give
gonna
that.
take it to the iron and use a little bit of the weight of the iron does the work for us.
It'll just lay flat.
It kind of goes out and away.
Get it started, and then
Finish it out. With this kind of block, if you aren't really big at pressing, take our advice. Just do a little bit as you go. It really will make a much more successful block.
So now I'm going to just show you what you would do now is add another one. So you have 2 sets of 3. You join 2 and then add a third one the same way.
Same process.
And then the other side the same thing. So you have 2 sets of 3, and now we're ready to join those.
Okay. Now, when you go to join these, you look at it and think, wouldn't it be nice to just sew one nice, neat seam? The problem is, you look at the smile, there's one smile here, and then there's one over here on the other side. So we found that the best success for you in this block is if you sew 1/2 at a time. It doesn't take that much longer. So we're going to place fabrics sew right side together, and we're going to come in and do a real quick pinch to find the centers of each piece. Center, just a little bitty mark.
And this is a fairly gentle curve,
There.
so it's not too hard to make that.
Again, we're doing the smile
flat.
piece on top.
Yep.
Match our little pinch spots in the centers. Now, this is where this intersection, you do want a nice point in the center. So, what you do is put the tip of your pin into that intersection here.
So right where the stitching lines cross.
Nice little X marks the spot. Then we're going to come over here, and you can see the point already made in orange. So we line them up one on top of the other, pull down so that they're locked together. And while that one's holding everything in place, I'm going to come in and put another pin, just a little one right there. And that will hold.
So-
Again, we're going to be sewing the same way we did last time to the center.
So,
Line them up, get them started under the machine.
and after you've done a few of these, you'll find they go together a lot quicker. But the first ones, you want to take your time, sew a few stitches, stop, and smooth out your fabric.
Yep. A lot of times you hear somebody say to fluff the excess to the side, and that's definitely what you're doing. You're just getting it off
I kind
out
of
of your
push
way.
it back toward where I've already sewed to get it out of my way.
But since it's such a gentle curve,
It doesn't take much.
nope, and I'm just going to try to match those cut edges all the way along. When I've taught curve piecing classes in the past, I've always told them, your first one will be your kindergarten block, but you will graduate quickly. But because by block 2, you've got it figured out.
Right? And like I say, you'll find it goes a lot faster after you've sewn a few of them. But the first one might feel a little awkward, but just
Yep.
keep going. Take your
The
time.
reward is a great payoff because it's a great block.
Right. So then when you get to the center, you're going to take it out.
And so there you've got the
Got the
curve
first half.
going
You're going to
right into the center with a nice intersection there.
So that's going to press toward the orange one in this case.
And then you go ahead and repeat that same process. Smile piece on top, matching your centers, and go right into the center.
Right. So
And
you
you
can
have
see
it.
here, all of these are pressed toward the smiles. And the last thing we did to reduce some of the bulk in the center is kind of just pop that seam and twirl it around until it lies flat.
And that will happen because you pressed in a kind of a windmill fashion all your seam allowances. Thanks for joining us.
For more of our Sew Easy lessons, go to fonsporter.com.